Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So click subscribe right there so you guys could subscribe to my channel, and click right there the notification bell so you guys could get notified every time I upload a new video. I'm having such a hard time just recording this video just because my baby is kind of fussy right now, and I had a big mirror. It just literally just broke in front of me right now. So 7 years of bad luck, I guess. And my camera doesn't work, so I'm trying to record on my iPhone that has water damage, so it acts kind of not good. So we'll see how this goes. Anyways, I don't know how I'm gonna be placing this camera, but this so she's one, and she's a little fuzzy, so I'll probably just put her to take her a nap, and then I want to get started with my video that I'm going to be talking about my pregnancy and my pregnancy story. So like I was saying, I'm going to go to like my little list and talk about the stuff for the second time because I already did this video. So the symptoms I got when I was pregnant was pregnancy brain, which is a big one. What it is that you forget little things that they could tell you. Like, let's just say somebody tells you, oh, we're gonna go to dinner today at 8, just get ready. You forget stuff like that. And then another thing that was a little struggle with me was being a crybaby. I'm already a crybaby, so this is the perfect example I could give. Like, I still cry. For example, I see a homeless person and I think in my head, I see one, right? And then in my head I think, wow, they're probably cold. Let me try and ask if they're hungry, if there's something I could do, and little things like that. And then I just start crying. But back then, I would just see one and like this, I would just start crying immediately. I've heard stories that when you're having a girl, you tend to be a little bit more emotional. And I would pee a lot. I would wake up, maybe not even kidding, seven times during the night, and I would just go pee. And it was so annoying because I would go pee, but it's not those long pees. You would literally pee and just like and then call it a day. Like it's so annoying that you feel like you really need to pee, but it's literally like probably like 5 little drops. It's so annoying. And then your pelvic bones hurt so much just because when you're getting bigger, you just feel the pressure right there. Oh, and this might be a little too TMI, too much information, but I've noticed that my armpits are normal color, like my skin color, but they were starting to get really dark. And then once I had her, obviously my armpits went back to normal. And let's go to cravings. The only thing I would literally crave was Chinese food. We would go to the Chinese buffet once every week, but sometimes he would even spoil me and we would go twice a week. So yeah, maybe because it was sweet and salty. I also loved corn in a cup where you put mayo and the cheese and everything. Damn, that's so bomb. So I've noticed that after your pregnancy, you start hating things you used to love. One thing that I really did find helpful was an app called What to Expect. It teaches you how big your baby is, like this small, the size of an almond, and the size of an avocado, and it just tells you what trimester you're on, and it really tells you step by step. And it was pretty cool because I would even ask my doctor, oh, is my baby the size of this, just to make sure the app was a little bit accurate. And they were like, yeah, like it's the size of an avocado today, or yeah, these are the symptoms you're gonna go through. And literally that's what the app would actually tell me. I found it really helpful, and it would give me reminders like, oh, today you're 25 weeks with 1 day, and expect these type of not cravings, but expect these type of symptoms. And so I guess now to the fun part, like honestly really trying to get to know me. I really did have a tough pregnancy to begin with, just because, let me start off the story. So we found out we were pregnant, right? And I was very lucky because he stayed with me, not like any other boyfriends at the time where you're like, oh, you're pregnant, oh, you're on your own. So yeah, like I stayed home. I basically kept it to myself because I knew I was gonna get kicked out. Like I knew that for a fact, like it was gonna happen just because my family's like that. Well, just my dad's really strict. He was very controlling. It was really tough growing up there. And I hid my pregnancy until I could, until 5 months, because after the 5 months I started to show, and that's when they found out like you're pregnant. Well, because I was always skinny, so they're like, wow, you got really fat. And I guess that's when they noticed that I was pregnant. Basically lost everything. And I think it was really unfair just because like I was a straight A student. I had a 4.0, and so just mind this, I had a 4.0 with 3 jobs. I would work in my aunt's company cleaning houses, cleaning companies, and then I was a secretary at school, and I would on the weekends I would work at a restaurant as a waitress, and the tips were really good. So mind that I would be a cleaner at I think it's called janitor cleaning, but it's not like I would just clean restrooms. I would clean offices, clean dishes, like do all that stuff, and it was really good pay. And at school also that was really good pay, and um the pay did suck when it came to the waitress job, but it would make up just because a lot of people like my customer service. Throughout my life, I would have such good recommendations when it comes to my customer service because I'm really nice and I would just get people food, even though I would just have to pick up food, you know. I'm like, you know what, I'll get this for you. Do you want more soda? I'll do this for you. And honestly, I would get a $20 tips, maybe like 3 times during the day, and then during the day I would get ones, twos, five. So, and honestly, not even lying, Sundays were really good. Saturdays I would just do maybe like $80 worth of tips plus my pay, which I would just get literally paid $70 a day. And then on Sundays it was really good because families would come, bigger families, and they knew they were gonna make a bigger mess. So sometimes they gave you more tips because they're like, oh damn, like, yeah, I made a lot of mess, I feel bad for that young lady, and they would give me more tips. So on Sundays that was like my jackpot. I would end up earning maybe like 150 worth of tips. I would really get a lot of tips. So yeah, I just thought it was unfair just because I was a straight ed student. I had money, I had bought my own car. But when I got kicked out, I ended up selling the car to my brother just because I lost everything. I didn't have job, like I had to quit my jobs just because of cleaning. I was pregnant and I couldn't be with chemicals that would be harming my baby. The secretary job, I had just finished the hours I was supposed to work, and when it came to the restaurant, I couldn't work there either just because I was pregnant and they feared I was gonna fall, so I lost that job too. So basically that's how I lost my job, and I ended up selling the car to my brother just because I knew I wasn't gonna have money, and all the ultrasounds was coming out of my pocket. He didn't work, so everything was coming out of my pocket, and the insurance I was under my mom, and nothing covered for pregnancy and nothing like that. So I had to do that on my own. And then later on, I couldn't be paying everything out of my pocket because all the money I had saved was slowly going into my pregnancy and slowly going through necessities I needed. So I ended up looking for an insurance for me. Yeah, so I ended up getting kicked out and I had to become my husband's problem. So mind this, he was already living with his grandparents. He didn't have a room to begin with. He was living in the living room, not even a bed. He was living or sleeping in a couch, and that's my story too. So I ended up, his grandparents were nice enough to bring me in, but yeah, I had to stay in the living room and sleep all during my pregnancy. in the couch. It was really uncomfortable, but till this day I'm really thankful because even my own family closed their doors to me, closed the windows, closed any opportunity I could have had with them, and they opened their arms to basically a stranger. It was really tough sleeping in the couch because when you're pregnant, you do sometimes you wake up and like, wow, I popped even bigger, and it's one of those things that you just keep getting bigger and bigger, and literally in a blink of a second you really do get big. It was really hard just because it was a living room and I didn't have privacy, or neither of us, neither me or him, had privacy, and it really did suck because his sister would come at 6 in the morning to the house with her son, with his nephew, and he would literally jump around and just be noisy in the living room. And it's like she didn't even tell him anything, and I thought that was kind of messed up from her side, just because she's been pregnant, so she should know that you get tired, that you just want to rest, and you don't want a little kid just being around you where literally you have no privacy and you're just literally in the couch. I never really got that luxury where I could have like pregnancy pillow. Like, we both slept on the couch, so we would sleep like this together, but I kept getting bigger, so I'm like, you know what, we gotta switch up. So we ended up sleeping across from each other. Like, basically I would be smelling his feet and he would be smelling mine. He would sleep this way and I would sleep this way. So my head would be by his feet and my feet would be by his head. Good thing our feet don't stink, or so I say. But yeah, like that's basically what we had to do, and it really did suck. And I ended up getting really, really big that it was really uncomfortable. Like, I would literally be in pain just to be in the couch. And I told him, you know what, let's go to Walmart and let's get a inflatable bed just so we could put in the ground. But the thing that sucks with that, it was really painful. I think we ended up not using it anymore. Maybe we used it for a month and I just couldn't handle it. We went back to the sofa just because those beds are really, really low. And when you're pregnant, it's hard to get up. It's hard to sit down. It sucked trying to go pee and getting up from, literally, it's basically from, you're literally on the ground basically. Like, maybe you're this like 1 inch, 2 inches away from the ground, and it really did suck. I just couldn't do it. I thought maybe having like a bed I would be able to stretch, and it was just really painful, so we went back to the couch. Literally how I spent my pregnancy. Now going back to the living room situation. As soon as I got pregnant, he didn't have a job, and he still didn't have insurance, so everything was still coming out of my pocket. Even then I still didn't even have insurance myself, so I had to pay out of pocket the ultrasounds, and they would really be expensive, like $400 for one ultrasound, and that was really expensive. When we stayed there at his grandma's house in the living room, I stayed there one time ever since they kicked me out. Stayed there the whole day until he came back to work, and it felt really uncomfortable because it is the living room. Like, sometimes random people would come, like his grandparents' friends, and they would just watch TV, and I would just feel like, oh, hi. And that was like basically my room, so I would just stay there in the couch, like texting my husband, like, oh my god, I feel so weird, please come pick me up. And that's one time it did happen, and he came during his lunch to pick me up, and he took me to his work, and I stayed there until he got out, and that's how the next story started. After that, I ended up staying with him every day he worked, which was 5 days out of the week, because 2 days he gets off. So 5 days out of the week, I would go with him to work and stay in the car. Literally, he would go into work at 12. I would go with him, and then we would just chill there until he would go inside to work. So let's say 12, where the sun is like already out and everything. I would wait for him literally all day for 9 hours. I would be there until during the day, and literally I would see the sunset, and then I would see the night, the moon, the stars, basically everything. For 5 months, I was in the car waiting for him. Just because my family didn't talk to me, they kicked me out. I lost all contact with them. Not because I didn't want to. I still wanted to talk to them, but they didn't want to talk to me. So it's not like I could hang out at my parents' house and just be there. And then at his grandma's house, I just felt really uncomfortable. His grandma took care of two kids, well, his cousins, and they were just loud everywhere, always fighting. I was just pregnant. I just wanted peace and quiet. And my only comfort was him, but he had to go to work. So yeah. Now looking back, it's like, wow, like I really did that for 5 months. Literally, we would go, and then he would go inside to work, and then I would stay there for 5 hours, and then he would come to the car and take his lunch, and we would eat together. And then it depends, he would take a 1 hour lunch depending on his boss, or half an hour, and then he would go back. And then again, for the rest of those hours, the 4 or 5 hours, I would literally be right there by myself in the car. Sometimes I would take my makeup just to do my makeup, or just I would just be on my phone. But I at that time I hated being on my phone. Just I got tired of watching YouTube. I would watch so many YouTube videos. Like, imagine being in a car for 9 hours, literally 9 hours. So how much YouTube can you watch? And I couldn't talk to nobody. I didn't have no friends. All the friends that I had plans with them. Like, we had gone seen apartments to transfer universities, but I ended up getting pregnant. So I don't blame them for not talking to me, but just distance got between us, and we don't talk. It's not like there was no beef, no nothing like that, but it did suck just because I had nobody to talk to. And my husband would text me here and there, like during his little breaks, or when he had a chance, but it still sucked because I would be in the car for hours. It sucked too because when you're pregnant, you're really sleepy, so I would take a blanket and just cover my face and take a nap. And people would just look at me, and I would feel weird. And sometimes I noticed that people would look at me like they would go to the store and shop or whatever. Like, I would be in the parking lots, and they would be like, huh, why is she still there? So I would just get the car keys and just like move around, just so people like don't really think I'm sleeping in the or living in a car. But that's what it seemed like. I was basically, yeah. So basically, I was homeless, and basically I was sleeping like living in a car for 9 hours, and then we would get home and we would sleep on a couch. And that was literally one of the hardest things I did during my pregnancy. Lost everything, lost contact with my family, was in another house, and I'm still grateful for that. But yeah, like, nobody wants to be pregnant and living and sleeping on a couch. And the couch was not even big enough for both of us, but somehow we would manage to fit in a couch, like both of us, and well, the three of us, because my baby was on the on the way. It just sucks because I really didn't get to enjoy my pregnancy how I would have loved to. And like, till this day, it really does suck seeing my baby, how beautiful she is, and how much I really do love her. But like, something deep inside in me feels like I feel so guilty that I didn't get to enjoy my pregnancy and like her baking in my tummy. And I wish if I could go back, even though I had such a hard time, I would still try to enjoy my pregnancy more. Yeah, that's something I would actually go back to. So now the fun part starts when I start having contractions. So I started having contractions a day before she was born, like 1 a.m. Contractions weren't as constant, but I started having really bad contractions. And it was around midnight. No, it was around 3 in the morning when I'm like, damn, like this baby's coming today. And I just woke up, I took a shower. Well, I woke him up first. I'm like, oh, I think I'm going into labor. He's like, no, you're silly, because I went into labor 2 weeks before my due date. So he's like, no, you're silly. You're just probably in pain. Just sleep it off. But I'm like, no, like, I don't know. He ended up getting me frustrated because I'm like, I know this baby's coming today. And all his family, everyone was excited that she was gonna come in June, because apparently all his family's birthdays are in June. Like 90% of his family is in June, and they wanted her to be a June baby, but I didn't, because I wanted her to celebrate, have her own month. And I'm like, you know what? You go back to sleep. I'm gonna take a shower. I'm gonna try to relax. Like, I'm like, maybe it's true. Maybe it's too early for me to go into labor. I ended up taking a shower just to see if I could relax. Oh my god, it was the most painful shower I ever took. It was, I was just in pain. Like, those contraction pains are no joke whatsoever. And I'm like, I ain't going to a hospital like this. So I ended up doing my full face makeup and I did my hair just because, I don't know, I'm not saying I'm pretty or anything, but just wanted to look okay for my baby. And around 7 a.m., that's when it really started hitting me, the contractions. No, actually, no, around 9. It started hitting me around 9. They were really hard. And then that's when I woke him up. I'm like, hey, you know what? We need to go to the hospital. I think this baby's coming right now. And he was just sleepy. I was so annoyed at this point. I was like, oh my god, I'm going into labor. You guys need to stop thinking that this baby's coming in July because in June, because this baby is coming out now. Yeah, he's like, oh, okay, then let me take a shower. I'm like, oh my god, like literally I was in my knees on the ground in pain. He still wanted to take a shower. Okay, whatever. So I called the hospital just to check if I could go to the hospital and they don't send me back home. And I called and they're like, um that my contractions mean that I'm in labor but not in active labor. So meaning that I had to have, my contractions had to be between 2 minutes so I could go back to the hospital, or I could go to the hospital, but most likely they were gonna send me back home. So we waited there for a little while, and around 12, during the midday, that's when the 2-minute contractions were starting to kick in. And I'm like, you know what, let's go to the hospital. This is where the other story comes in, that I'm actually going into labor. And then I got excited. I texted my mom, my dad, like my family, like, hey, your granddaughter's coming today. You guys are welcome to come to the hospital. I'll tell you the room number, everything. But no answer. Like, nobody came. I felt a little salty just because all his friends wanted to come and see me and the baby, and all his family was there. And I feel like I was kind of rude to him just because I told him, no, I don't want your friends here. I don't even think I want your family here. Not because I was trying to be rude or anything, but it's just like, I really did feel sad. Just because I was already going through this pregnancy alone. And I would have want to talk to my mom and talk to her about, like, just my pregnancy, like what's normal, her experience in her pregnancy, and just things that we have similar, or what can I expect. You always need your mom for something, and she wasn't there when I needed her, or my parents. And it just, like, it really did break my heart, just like going into labor and his family being there supportive, and they weren't there. I guess, like, I was just a little salty, just disappointed that how come your family's here and not mine. But yeah, and then it came to the point that I was ready to push, and his mom ended up being there. And the doctors had asked me, because initially I just wanted him and hopefully my mom, but she didn't end up going. And they had asked me, oh, do you want her to leave? And I felt bad because she was already there visiting us, and she was already coming, and I was ready to push. And I'm like, you know what, she could stay. And yeah, she ended up seeing me, like literally me pushing her out. And yeah, that sounds gross. I didn't plan it either, but I'm not super close to her either, but we don't have a bad relationship, like, it's because he doesn't really see her either, so we just, like, say hi or how are you, like, we just keep it calm between each other. And yeah, like, when she was there, it's just like, she was the closest mom I could have had there, and he was there holding my hand while I was pushing her. But yeah, like now looking back at it, to this day I do wish my parents could have said congratulations, or I mean they love her and everything, but it's the little things that matter when you want them there but they're not there with you. And like I said, I did feel alone because he ended up having to go back to work. That day he had to go to work the day she was born, but and it's not, it's those type of works that you basically have to go to work or you kind of do lose your job just because they're really low on people. So after I had her, he had stayed with me, but the next day, you stay in the hospital and he had to go back to work. And I was scared because I was by myself. His family wasn't there because he wasn't there. Or his grandma would come and visit, but just a little bit. And it was scary just because I was a new mom and I was with the newborn who would cry, and I was just having a hard time breastfeeding her. And that's all you could do during while they're newborns. You have to breastfeed them. And it kind of did so because he would be at work and I would just be surrounded by nurses when they would just come and check up on me. But yeah, I had a really tough pregnancy. I don't know, it's just, I feel like it's really unfair how my family treated me just because I got pregnant when I was 22 and now I'm about to be 24. And it's just like they were treating me like I was a 14-year-old in middle school or a 16-year-old starting high school. And it wasn't fair. It's just I had a lot going on in my life and like good grades, good jobs, and I was so responsible. But I guess I had my little oopsie. And yeah, it just sucked because you do tend to want to have your family around. I don't know, and then I guess we could fast forward to now that I guess I somehow, I'm not gonna say I do have a relationship with my family just because I feel like I would be really lying. I do go to their house just for her, just so they could see her. And it does suck because I'm there trying to talk to them, but they don't really talk to me. They're just all up on her and everything, and okay, I get it. And then when I come home, or I don't go visit them and I'm just home, they tend to call me so they could talk to her. Even though doesn't really know how to talk sentences, she just knows how to say daddy, mommy, mama, papa, apple, cookie, pee, no, yes, see. Just little things, little random things that she's been picking up lately. And it sucks because they're like, oh, let me talk to her. And they talk to her, whatever. They're like, okay, we gotta go, bye. And I'm like, bye. And then it's the same thing. Well, now we don't live in his grandma's house. We actually got our own studio on November last year. Well, yeah, last year. So this year, which is next month, we'll be having our first year in this studio. And it's good having your own space, but it still doesn't, for both of us, it still doesn't feel home sweet home, just because this is the smallest studio I've ever seen. I've seen studios bigger than this, and this one's really, really small. And this basically our bedroom, our kitchen, our living room, our bathroom, really, really small. And again, I'm still lonely. My family just, they're still mad at me for getting pregnant, which is kind of dumb because I'm not a high schooler or whatever. Anyways, and then I don't have friends and he's always at work, and just honestly, like, it's just me and my baby. That's it, basically. And it does suck. That's why, honestly, this is one of the main reasons I started my YouTube channel, because nobody should feel alone. it's one of those feelings that when you feel alone, you feel like you're not good enough for anybody. You're not worthy. You, like you belittle yourself when you shouldn't. And honestly, that's how I be feeling. I feel like, what have I done in this world so bad that I'm so lonely that I can't really talk to people. Sometimes I get stressed out. I feel sad. And just I would just love to have someone to talk to. And yeah, I could talk to my husband, but he he works all day. When he comes home, it's maybe like 9:30, 10, and then we eat really late, and then by that time we're tired, we go to sleep. He wakes up, we wake up, and then it's time, maybe we have 1 or 2 hours that we wake up and we're together as a little family, and then he goes back to work. And honestly, that's life. I'm not gonna be complaining because I know a lot of people have it worse. But yeah, that's one of the reasons I started my YouTube channel, because coming from me, it does suck feeling alone. And if I could help you guys just stop feeling alone, I would gladly do it. And just if you guys could like comment little things you're going through, I could help you out, or vice versa, just because it does suck. I wish all this that I went through would be so different, but things happen for a reason, I guess. And maybe God thinks I'm strong enough to go through stuff like this, even though right now I feel like at my weakness, at my lowest. But yeah, I just started my YouTube channel, so I guess I could have you guys to talk to you guys about my experience. And I feel like my videos get depressing, and that's the last thing I want, for my videos to be depressing. So yeah, so just let's help each other out, be positive, you guys, and just remember that there's always going to be someone that will actually care. And if you guys don't feel that, I hope you guys think that I could be that one person that would actually care, and I'll be pouring my heart out and answering all the questions you guys have, and just be there for you guys. And I hope you guys could be there for me too. And just stay positive. I will have more content and more life stories, I guess, if you guys are interested. And I guess I could do the fun experience of having a baby or little things like that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and please subscribe and click the notification bell so you guys could get notified every time I upload a new video. And have a good one.
To be young and in love in New York City, do not know who I am but still know